Huge day-to-day improvements. I think the thing that sticks out in my mind the most is when I first joined the gym, I thought I was fairly fit, and I wasn't big either. Well, not that big anyway. But I really struggled to bend down and, get back up, and so my flexibility was shot. So before I was doing very high intensity training, but I was just rigid and inflexible. It all brings it back together. It's that holistic approach again. It's just developing that other side to you that enables you to train better, to eat better, to put yourself first, to get to where you want to be, to have that, I suppose, inner peace and calmness and being the best that you possibly can be. If I've got the weight, then I can just be left alone. And I've had to work through that. And it took me some time to realise, and it's through your courses, Stefan, and hearing other people's experiences, that I realised, I'm actually using my weight to stop me from being hurt again, and to protect myself from future trauma based on what I've previously been through.
Welcome to Real People, Real Results, Real Change, the podcast that's dedicated to helping real people develop real health and fitness in their lives. Real people like you, business owners, professionals, house husbands and housewives, and students. I'm Stefan, I'm a personal wellness coach at YouFit Studio, and I'll be your host. In this episode, I'm talking again with Ruth Bentley, HR advisor and mum of two. In this episode, we discuss how she overcame self-sabotage on her health and fitness journey, and how she did this by, in part, stepping out of her comfort zone in order to progress her health and fitness and grow her confidence at the same time. So, Ruth, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me again. And what I'd really like to do this episode is to dig in a little bit into some of the detail about your journey. And we were chatting a little bit just now, and you said, obviously, as it has been for many people, right, that the pandemic has that was a tricky time, right, and
Hugely.
kind of knocked you off course. And what was some of the impact that had for you personally?
I think the main impact for me it was gaining weight. Because you could only go out for a short period of time. I was sitting more, I was working from home, I was literally stuck at my desk, just tapping away. So the early months of that were tough, different, I think.
Well, it was a lot to get used to.
It was a lot to get used to.
It was very different, right?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the kids were at home all the time. The dog wanted to go out. It was difficult to get shopping in and prep, and so yes, I did fall off track during COVID.
Okay, and so how have you built your sort of routines and things back up sort of afterwards? What have you needed to do?
Well, YouFit, the gym that I'm at, they reacted quite quickly. They were doing online sessions. So there was always that contact with the coaches and, a limited amount of contact with the gym members. So there was something there. And Helen was doing daily podcasts as well at 5 o'clock, or live Facebook Lives, which were really insightful and helped and made you think about things a lot as well. So I think those little bits, and also we're doing live videos and huddles as well. So it was that, everybody went on camera, which they didn't want to do at first, but that human interaction and that visual interaction was really good. And I was lucky that the workplace that I go to, my workplace is full-on wellness, keeping yourself safe during COVID. That helped hugely too.
Oh, that's amazing, actually, because I think that was one of the biggest issues most people had, was that kind of sense of isolation. And actually you were able, both through your workplace and also through your coaches, being able to maintain that contact and maintain that sort of that line of thread in your life on both sides. Oh, that's incredible. So I can imagine that was incredibly helpful.
It was.
And then, so getting back, obviously, so it's been a few months now, right? And getting back into sort of the training and sort of different aspects of your health and fitness journey.
Yeah.
What sort of things are you up to? Like, what's your training like at the moment?
My
What are you doing?
training, well, it changes week from week, but what I'm trying to do is do 3 strength training sessions, which is a program designed around my abilities and what I want to achieve. It also takes into account any injuries, because I've got tennis elbow, I've got a problem with my shoulder, so it's tailored around that. And whilst I'm not got any injuries at the minute, it's around making sure that I don't re-injure myself as well, so it's very tailored around that. And I've also started doing a MET class, which is, I suppose, a HIIT class. It's high intensity training, and I do that via Zoom, because I can't always get in to the gym. So that's really helpful.
Out the way, right?
Yeah, I have to make sure I don't hit the lights as well when I'm doing star jumps and that. But that's really helpful, knowing that, because we didn't have that before COVID. So that's something that the gym's brought in to support as well, because I do live quite away from the gym as well. So it does help keep me focused when I can't actually get in physically.
And so what does your strength training look like? What sort of things?
So I start off with something called a ramp, which is warm-up exercises. I do quite a lot of stretches. I do some rolling as well, which is really good for releasing some back soreness and leg soreness. I then go on and do a series of 3 exercises repeated 3 times, and they can be legs, arms, core, dependent upon what I'm told to do. And then we get a finisher at the end, which is usually on the bike. We have to do 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, full pelt. So,
so
and then the times change as you improve. So you may get a minute's rest, and then it will kind of decrease to like 20 seconds. I think has been the shortest rest I've been given.
So I imagine you're doing that fairly consistently.
Yes, I'm trying to. Yes, I've got a one-to-one booked in with personal trainer on a Monday, which is non-movable. Me and my training buddy do that together, and then that's 3 people with a coach, and they go through your program, and they change your technique as well. They make sure that you're doing things in the right way, your posture's right. So it's very hands-on. Move your shoulder. Are you engaging your muscles in the right way? So it's brilliant.
And so how did you? So you talked about tennis elbow and sort of different injuries. So how do you work around those? When you say strength training, are you talking about like free weights? You're talking about machines or combination?
It's free weights. Yes. Dumbbells, kettlebells, resistance bands. Balls.
Fantastic. So how do you work around injuries? Like, what's that look?
Well, it's talking to my coach. I've got a niggle here, and at the start of every session they say, are there any injuries that I need to be aware of? Do we need to adapt your program? And sometimes I've gone in, if I've had a bad night's sleep and my neck's crooked or something's not feeling right, then they'll adapt the program, or I'm now confident with the coaches. I'll say, no, I've got to change that. So we'll switch in another exercise for that.
So not just powering through.
No, oh God, no.
Cool. And and I'm guessing you're seeing some significant benefits from that. Like, what do you notice, like, day to day, like in terms of, like, doing all of the strength training, you're doing, like, the HIIT training, you're doing regular cardiovascular work. Like, what are you noticing day to day improvements? Yeah,
huge day to day improvements. I think the thing that sticks out in my mind the most is when I first joined the gym, I thought I was fairly fit, and I wasn't big either. Well, not that big anyway. But I really struggled to bend down and, get back up, and so my flexibility was shot. So before I was doing very high intensity training, but I was just rigid and inflexible. Whereas this brings in, you need to stretch your hips out. You need to, make sure that everything's stretched and flexible. So flexibility is a huge thing.
Yeah.
because I was getting injured at the beginning because I was so inflexible.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. And it's an area that some people neglect, right?
Absolutely, stretching afterwards, it's a huge thing here. The warm down, make sure you roll afterwards, make sure you cool down properly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And then how has food developed over time, and what's that journey been like for you?
Well, I'm a bit of a foodie. Do like my food.
Absolutely.
I've always tried to eat fresh food and cook food myself. I think, when you're really busy with work and children, etc., you can kind of, stick some processed stuff in more and more.
Yeah.
So I've always been okay with prepping my food. I think what's been a revelation to me, especially in the last week or so, is I've actually planned my food and looked at the calories in the food and switched my meals around so that I'm hitting my calorie goal each week, which I haven't actually done before. I've kind of gone, oh, well, there's my protein, there's my carbs, there's my veg. And I've been eating probably less than I've been eating this week, but not losing the weight.
Okay.
So it's been an evolving feat, what's working for me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, exactly. And what does work best, generally?
This is, I think, preparation is key, and the coaches talk about that all the time. And I've always had a rough idea in my mind what I'm going to cook, but I've been like, oh, well, I don't fancy that tonight, I'll have this. So I think that's been my kind of, fall down.
Okay.
Well, I don't fancy that tonight, I'll have this.
Yes.
And I'll buy food to kind of cater for the kids and for me and for the family. And yeah, that's been my downfall previously, whereas I think being prepped, knowing that every meal that I've got, I've really enjoyed, is working at the moment.
Yeah.
So little tweaks all along my journey.
Yeah, so not necessarily
to get to where I am.
changes, but
No,
adapting and adjusting as you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Now I know, because we've talked before, right, that you've pushed yourself out your comfort zone quite a lot, and especially in recent times, and that's been a big part of your journey.
Yeah.
Right? And giving you more confidence.
Yeah, definitely.
What are some of those ways that you've done that?
Again, it's at the gym, because they put on events. They want to bring the team together, and I think especially after COVID, it was getting that community feel back again. They've obviously moved to new premises. There are new members joined.
Right.
There are a few of us from the old gym that are, we know each other quite well now. But we've done things like a fire walk, which was hugely challenging.
Wow.
You've got to really mentally prepare yourself for that. We've done an activity centre up in Yorkshire, Sten Gorge, where we've done abseiling, gorge walking, hanging off the side of a cliff and trying to move yourself along.
Okay.
And you're doing that with people that and you may have seen at the gym, but you're putting your trust in people that, well, I've not even really thought about it until we're talking about it, but there's no doubt that I trust them because of where they've come from, I suppose. So for me as well, the gym provides a lot of self-development work. I've had a huge lot of issues to work through, quite a lot of trauma to work through, and the gym has enabled me to develop myself, to recognise triggers, to know what to do when certain situations arise and how to handle those with strength, as opposed to running away and hiding, which is what I used to do.
Yeah. And obviously some of that has come through. I'll go back to the fire walking a little bit because that's really exciting. But some of that has come through. You mentioned your relationship with the coaches and getting that coaching support from them and that advice, and also kind of talking through strategies and ideas and ways to approach things with mindset. I'm guessing, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And then the other side, obviously, I know we've done some courses and different things like that, haven't we, around sort of self-development and skills.
Yeah.
What part have they sort of played for you?
They've played a huge part.
Okay.
It all brings it back together. It's that holistic approach again. It's just developing that other side to you that enables you to train better, to eat better, to put yourself first, to get to where you want to be, to have that, I suppose, inner peace and calmness and being the best that you possibly can be. So it's all of that self-development. You're constantly growing and learning what works for you and what doesn't work for you, what you'll put up with, what you won't put up with. So it's really helped me with setting boundaries, saying no to the kids. That's tricky. Saying no to other people, and just standing my ground. Because I was a people pleaser, and I don't want to see people hurt, and I don't want to see people unhappy. But I'm not going to put myself in a situation where it's detrimental to me anymore.
Yeah, it's such a big issue, right, for people, and I think for women especially, right, where you're often put in that role where you're expected to be the people pleaser, to put everyone else first, and obviously, we were talking last episode, right, about how that way you gradually kind of built up your sort of the ground under your feet, so you've got more ground to stand on, more sort of solid foundation that way, just through little tweaks and things, right? But it sounds like you've taken the some opportunities that you've had there, firewalk and kind of some quite physically challenging things you've mentioned, like in Yorkshire, like sort of climbing and doing things like that, where you've had to put your trust in other people, and that's helped you to grow that level of confidence. But then you've also done more sort of personalised work around, building your self-esteem and that side of thing as well, and some NLP and different things like that to sort of boost up and I guess put down some issues more, or is that kind of what it feels like?
Yeah, absolutely, yes. Yes, they're a little dot over there somewhere now.
Okay, that sounds good.
I want to keep it over there.
Yeah. Well, life's challenging, right? And everyone has their things and puts us in sort of different kind of spot and stuff. And I don't know if this has been your experience, but sometimes we put up barriers as a result of that, because we're braced against different things that happen, right? When if someone's throwing proverbial stones at us, right? It's natural to kind of shield yourself, but then you kind of hold on to that.
Yes.
And you're saying that's. Has that been your experience?
Yeah, absolutely. When I first joined UFIT, I lost quite a lot of weight. I was getting attention, and I didn't like it. I really didn't. I wasn't in the right headspace to deal with that sort of attention. So I piled the weight back on. I kept my fitness up, but I also I wanted to lose the weight, but I didn't want to lose the weight because it was a nice little barrier.
Right.
If I've got the weight, then I can just be left alone.
Okay.
And I've had to work through that. And it took me some time to realise, and it's through your courses, Stefan, and hearing other people's experiences, that I realised, I'm actually using my weight to stop me from being hurt again, and to protect myself from future trauma. Based on what I've previously been through. So that was a revelation. It was a real light bulb moment. And I thought, and I spent lots of time talking to yourself and to Sam about, why do I do it? Why do I self-sabotage? I make so much progress and then I put myself back and then I'm kind of yo-yoing here and there, and no more, crack on, lose the weight, deal with the attention, and start living again properly.
Sounds amazing. But also
it's tough,
Yeah, I was going to say it sounds so normal, right? So common. I think that's a lot of people in that position.
I didn't realise I was doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It took a lot of self-development work, that holistic approach, somebody else saying something very similar to give me that light bulb moment. And to think, well, do I really want to keep doing this?
Yeah, it sounds like the answer is no.
Absolutely not.
So what about the future then? What are you excited about or planning? Like, obviously,
Well, I want my kids to be proud of me. That's a huge thing. And recently they've been saying, "Oh, look, Mum, you've lost lots of weight. I've not got a pillow to sleep on anymore. Cheers. But I'm proud of you, and knowing that I'm a good role model for them now, and they're seeing the strength that I've got through this makes me determined to continue. As I said, I'm at the start of a challenge. I can't see my behaviours changing because that's working for me. It doesn't feel like a challenge.
Right.
And I'm losing weight, eating more, enjoying my food more, having more time because I'm prepping. And those little tweaks have led to this point where this week I've felt brilliant. So I want to carry that on.
Okay.
Determined to.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so last few words and stuff, but what if you had to summarise some of those key takeaway points then that you would not necessarily recommend to other people, but have other people be aware of, or not sweat the small stuff in a sense, right? Like what are some of the things that are sort of your takeaway?
I think I suppose I didn't really have a long goal in mind. I wanted everything to change there and then, and there is no, quick fix.
Yeah.
It is tough. Do things bit by bit. Surround yourself by positive people. Find out what works for you, and enjoy it. But it's going to be hard, but worth it.
Yeah, enjoy it sounds like such a key part of that.
Yeah,
right?
I've enjoyed it. Yeah.
Like if you feel like you're slogging at something, like my advice is often like have a look and see how you can actually switch it or change the pace or change the focus, because it's so important, right?
I think so, and I think surrounding yourself with positive people is key, because I've been able to be vulnerable, and through that vulnerability I've been able to identify what's not working for me and move forwards. Whereas if you're kind of not prepared to take that leap of faith, you're going to get what you've always got.
Yeah. Okay, great stuff. Thank you so much, Ruth.
You're welcome. Thank you.